Howdy there folks, I'm Quinn of Snazzy Labs, and this is the video review of the Klipsch S5i allegedly rugged in-ear headphones. Now, these are going to run you in the ballpark of $70. They retail for $129, but you're never going to end up paying that much money. And about $65 to $70 is the median for most online resellers. Now, the S5i are the successor, or rather the ruggedized version of the little brother, the S4i. Now, I've annotated my S4i review in the top left-hand corner, and you can check that out. I love the S4i. Even today, I still think they're some of the best in-ear monitors you can get under $100 for them, for most consumers. They really are excellent. So naturally, I was excited for the S5i because the S4i, despite their excellent sound, did have some serious shortcomings when it came to build quality. Now, the S5i was supposed to remedy all of these problems, but I feel like they addressed problems that didn't need addressing and didn't fix the ones that did need addressing. So I'm going to talk about these headphones. I'm going to break them down and tell you whether or not it's worth your money. Now, first of all, I want to talk about this horribly goofy controller. Rather than most headphones that have a small controller, this thing is massive. And in theory, it's nice. You're running, you're jogging, you don't have to fiddle around for stuff. You have this big old controller you can hit to play, pause, skip tracks, go backwards, as well as raise and lower the volume. But this controller is terribly huge, which means you're going to bump it all the time. I would bump this on doors, on lawnmowers while I was running, and I would change the track, turn off the volume, and nearly deafened myself. This thing is horribly designed. The buttons are far too easy to press. I wish they were not so external, and you're going to find a lot of problems in this, as I did. Additionally, this 360-degree microphone they advertise as picking up everything really does pick up everything, and not in a good way. It's designed to be able to pick up your voice even if you're not speaking directly into it. A lot of headphones have these microphones, but you have to talk into them to get a good sound, and a lot of time callers are disoriented and impaired, and that's why you have to hold the microphone up to your mouth like a lot of people do. This is supposed to just capture your voice no matter what. However, it captures everything, and when I was on telephone calls, they would be unable to talk to me because cars sounded louder, or even bird chirping sounded louder than me. And this was just horribly designed. It sounds awful when you're in a quiet room, and it sounds even worse when you're outside in an open world environment. And it was nearly unusable on telephone calls, which is not too good. Now, I want to talk about the headphones themselves. They're very, very light, and these enclosures, even though they're really nice and have this rubberized finish, I feel like they're a little bit cheap still. As much as I feel like they're nice, I don't know how durable they are. I've used them for several weeks without problems, but this hinge right here still worries me immensely. This is what the problem was on the S4 and the S4i, and you can still see it gives a lot, and I can just see this is going to be a big, big problem. So that's one thing that I don't like. Other than that, though, the rest of the actual ear tip is quite nice. Now, the problem with these is isolation. Now, in the original S4i, it was not super easy to get isolation, but it wasn't impossible. In this, not a single pair of ear tips included with the Klipsch S5i was I able to get a seal good enough to get good sound. And with these headphones, you do need a perfect seal, or else the sound is not even remotely good. And I was unable to do this with the included tips. I needed to use my Comply foam ear tips, which are not very cheap, and which most consumers are not going to try. So that was something that was a serious downside to the S5i that was not a problem in the S4i. Additionally, I want to talk about the cable. The cable is basically unchanged. However, it has this more rubbery texture than the previous model, which makes it really, really prone to cable noise. Rub this on your shirt, rub it on your pants. You're going to hear it through the headphones, even when music was playing, which was really, really irritating. Now, as we move down to the jack, we still have this same rather mediocre jack. While it does fit in most iPhone cases, while it is thin, there is no right angle jack, and you're probably going to when doing ruggedized things, experience some tension in this area, which just is not very, very comforting at all. Now, what I also want to talk about is the sound. Now, it has the same sound. You got the thump and bass, you have the smooth mids, and you have the nice but generally shadowed high end. They use identical drivers to the S4i, and so the sound shouldn't be much to any different, and it's not, but I do want to mention again that cable noise will interfere with your with your sound. But other than that, it's pretty good. You get superior imaging, instrument separation is really, really awesome. And on the sound forefront of things, it's great. But the rest of the headphones make me wonder, are they really worth that extra dough? You have this bulky controller, which obviously bumps buttons all the time. You have the terrible microphone, which is nearly unusable for telephone calls. You have this cord that still tangles and picks up a lot of noise. You have this lousy headphone jack right here. The actual casing is not that great. I mean, it is a little bit nicer than the S4i, but not a ton. This joint is still really loose, which is the problem in the S4i. And last but certainly not least, you cannot get the isolation that you can get in the S4i. It was almost impossible to get a perfect seal. And without a perfect seal, these sound like $10 or $15 earbuds. Once you get that in, once you have that perfect isolation, that bass will come into things. The mids will get a lot clearer. That imaging will get a lot more superior. But without that seal, which I could not achieve, they're not good. So what I would say is, if these and the S4i are the same price, get the S4i. If the S4i are more expensive than the S5i, still get the S4i. You're going to experience a lot better isolation, overall sound, and sadly, build quality. What they needed to address, they didn't, and what they tried to attempt in fixing, like this thing, is completely gimmicky and nearly unusable. I'm Quinn of Snazzy Labs. The Klipsch S5i get a not snazzy award. Just go with the S4i. They're way better and have way fewer problems. Klipsch tried, but they failed in the S5i, and I cannot recommend them by any sense of the word. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, rate, comment. Have a great weekend, and as always, stay snazzy. See you later, folks.